Signs of surrender. Okay, as each twin's journey is unique to their their mission, uh, the surrender part is unique to each individual twin. It's always good to get that guidance from your higher selves. That's important. The first thing is letting go of that ego for sure. The twin that's in the spiritual, they'll be able to understand that a little bit more because they're actually digging more. It's still a challenge to let that part go, though. Yeah, it is, because what is the letting go? What is that all about? I could say for myself, I was moved from my family. Um, I was moved not intentionally, I had gotten married, and so where we moved, I actually chose the place to move, which is unbelievable because I chose that because it's something that my mom had brought home to show us some flyers of new homes being built. So I was like, okay, close my eyes, this one. And that's actually how I chose it, and it weren't, I guess it was the divine telling us to, directing it. Because if you think about it, you go back and you think about it, it's all put together by, nothing ever happens by accident. So I may have been playing around at that time, but look at how I met my twin. And at the time, I was with dating my ex. We had a long distance relationship, me and the ex. So that put me myself in a position to be not so wanty with relationships. I was able to have a humbleness about me. But the difference is, like I was mentioning, when I moved away from the family and came out here, I had no family around me. My ex had no family around him. And so when we separated, most people go back home, but for some reason I stayed. And more than likely it was the spirit that was guiding me to, and so from that, we did lose a lot, right? Because we lost the gas station and stuff along that line. But I knew that I was never really materialistic. I wasn't into making sure that, I like nice things, but I wasn't obsessed with it, And so in time, I knew I was being pulled for a spiritual journey, but I didn't know what it was at the time. A friend of mine had came up to spend a week with me because she had a tragedy, and she directed me to the rabbi that I started to follow for years, and it was sort of opening up some, but not a lot. Like I knew that something was still pulling at me. And then it finally became clearer when I actually met up with twin. And even then, it still wasn't 100% clear, because it did take a few years for me to even find out what a twin was. I just knew that I was on this journey that didn't make any sense to me, and I knew that I like, this is not right. So I wanted to get out of that situation. Like, so when they say surrender and you give up the chase. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I liked him, but I didn't like how I was drawn to him. Like, it didn't make any sense, because you got to be serious. So I had to dig and dig, and I was asking people, and nobody understood, and it was frustrating. So I got to a point where, when I did reach out, so now I've got an understanding of this twin journey, this twin thing, and it's becoming clearer. So it's like, cool. I like this information because it's making sense, so everything was making sense all of a sudden. And then the more you do research and find out what it is, because, like, it's, it doesn't consume you, but it's pulling at you, literally pulling at you. So you getting a lot of signs from the universe to come on. We need you to get this understanding a little bit faster than what you're doing. So you go into, so now your ego is like totally got to be put aside, because you got to get a good understanding of what is going on here, right? And so you, not only are you doing your research, but the universe is talking to you, and you're drawn to get the information or get the understanding of what they are trying to tell you. And then, and twin don't understand, they're just as lost as you are. So they're trying to understand it, but they do it in a different way. They do it in that way where they sort of shut down. And I didn't mind it shutting down sometimes, because I needed to understand. And then once you do get on it and you do understand it, it's like, bam, this is it. This is it. And then it goes further than that. So you keep going and everything becomes clearer. So the surrender part, I would say each person's surrender part is unique to yourselves, because it depends on what you've been programmed with, how you've been programmed to think. I know that me and my ex-girls, we used to always like, hey, if they're going check you. So I had to be reprogrammed for that part, so that to learn how to trust, to learn how to believe in something that I didn't grow up understanding or talking about, so I had to reprogram what they say about marriage, because they're like, marriage is important, you got to get married. So then you find out, when you do a little bit more research on marriage, you find out that, hey, marriage was created by society to have just a little bit of control things. And mainly because, when you think about it, if twins were back then, they were probably, a lot of times, they come along, and there's a couple, and they're like, bam, separated by what? They left you for what? So they didn't understand. So bam, let's make it illegitimate. Because when you think about, just go back to the Bible, right? And Yeshua, he always celebrated. And so they how men changed the Bible? Let's say, he went to a wedding and changed water into wine. Why did he have the best wine for later? No, more than likely that was a feast day. It was a regular feast. It was a feast day, something that they did monthly. So, because they never did say who was getting married or anything like that. So, it's a lot of things that you have to take and go on discernment, when you're, because the Bible is so coded, that you can't just take it literally, because if you go back to the beginning, they didn't get married. If you go through anywhere, Jacob, He didn't get married. He met Leah in the tent, more or less. That's all what consumes the marriage. So really what makes men and women one is when they're intimate. You know what I mean? That's why it's so vital to hold off so that you don't take, because when a woman is a receiver and a man is a giver, so when she receives the wrong energy, that whole thing is offline. So it's so important to understand that concept of what we're doing, what you're doing. You take his strength when you're not lined up right. So it's really vital that we get a real true understanding of what everything means, and the good thing is I've always been intrigued by the truth of the Bible, not just as a story or just what men say, so when you really get into it on a spiritual level, you understand that that's a guide. It's a guide to help us to get to those patriarchs who had that one-on-one with their spirit, the understanding of how the earth and the spirit became one. Then we lost it. Somewhere along the way, we lost that, right? So now it's time to get it back. And we don't know how, because we're so into the religion. Like all these religions around here, like seriously. But we do it as we've been trained and what we believe, and we don't take the time to have that one-on-one with our higher selves. But if you even get to see the patterns of them, they always had somebody they were talking to, somebody that was guiding them. So that's your higher self. So when you get that guidance, you get to know what is the separation, what is the surrender, what is the surrender, so that we could be in union. Because we're so focused on union that we're skipping the main parts, which is knowing who you are and knowing the vital parts of lining yourself up to the spiritual part of who you are. That's who brought you here and planned everything. We have contracts with soulmates. We have contracts with karmics. And each of them have to go according to how it's supposed to be played out until it gets to the point where we are finding out who we are, and we get through that surrender stage, which is unique to us all. And then everything starts coming together, and you still just don't panic. That's the key. Don't panic, because it's all gonna work out. But be guided by the truth, because there is a lot of information out there, a whole lot. And discern. Take the discernment and get the because your higher self is going to let you know when you're listening to the truth and when you're not. Don't knock anybody down. Just, that's not twins are not here to, they're wrong. No, that's not what we're about. You just discern it. You keep it, keep it moving if it's not the right information for you. And keep going. But your surrender is your surrender. Find out what part do you need to get into your truth and your belief of this journey. To believe that and to know that you're on this journey. That's where that's the surrendering right there. Once you're seeking those, and your higher self will definitely guide you. And will give you all the information that you need. Just what I found interesting was yoga. I'm not good at yoga. I'll be honest with you. I'm not. I'm really not. But it has helped me to open up some chakras, to get a little bit of balance. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do yoga. I'm like, wow. And so, but you get into the meditation, and did I say I'm not good at yoga? I'm glad I said it a few times, because I'm not even going to try to get into those positions. But it does do its part with helping us. Yoga's for you just do it at whatever level you're at. It's too funny. So this is where we're at, friends. This is where we're at. Do what you can to open up that ability within yourself to get a better understanding of what you need to do to get where you need to go. Blessings and love.